tell me when to say something.
Okay. So I am Pamela, and I'm here with Brad. And Brad and I are at the Orlando Science Center, and we are at the exhibit which is called Mineral Wealth, the Art of Geology. It's on display July 13th through October the 6th. So, thank you, Brad, for
I,
agreeing to speak with me and for us to do this walkthrough. So, how are you this morning?
I'm doing okay. How about you?
I'm well. So, I just want to share with people that I've known you for 10 years or more.
10 years at least.
And so, would you just share with us a little bit about how you got involved in doing what you do?
Well, I moved here probably 22, 24 years back. And I just, basically, I started working in it maybe 22 years ago in the arts. Basically, I was a intern at a commercial art gallery. It's no longer with us, called the Comma Art Gallery, ran by Karen Karasik and Kim Sumner, if I recall correctly. And there I learned the business of art.
And so, when you say the business of art, I know that you are one of the movers and shakers on the Orlando art scene because you curate a lot of art shows or exhibits, excuse me. So, can you just explain to someone what a curator does?
Well, the original definition of curator actually is a guy in the museum that basically takes care of the artwork, or a woman for that matter, takes care of the artwork and cleans it and documents it. But in the modern day, for those of us that are independent, that do not work for a museum or a gallery, we basically do it on our own. The definition of curator is someone who gets art exhibitions done. We find the artist, we establish the rules, we find the venues, and we make everything happen.
Okay, thank you for sharing. And so now I'm just going to share with everyone. I don't know if you can see that this is as you enter the Orlando Science Center and you come to where the exhibit is, and it's located in the section of the library where they call it the Hive, I think.
Well, it's called the Fusion Gallery, and it's on the third floor.
Okay.
When you come out of the elevator, straight ahead.
Excellent. So I also want to acknowledge and share, or just share with everyone that my business, Bussy Arbitration and Mediation Services LLC, is a sponsor. So that's just like a plug. And so as you first come in, we see this beautiful, beautiful piece of amethyst, which is owned by the Orlando Science Center. And one other thing that I wanted to just ask you briefly about, the name of the exhibit, Mineral Wealth, the Art of Geology. I think you know a little bit about geology and gemstones.
I love geology. I've been a rock hound for as long as I can remember. There's actually a picture somewhere on the internet of me at 5 or 6 years old in a plow field in Texas holding petrified wood I had just found, literally. So I've been digging up gems all over the place. Over the years, I've learned that artists and people are gems as much as minerals and gems are gems.
I think once or twice or more a year, you do go on what I call erroneously, and you correct me all the time. I just like how it sounds. I call it spelunking, but you call it
mining trips.
Exactly.
Yeah, I go to Arkansas once every year on a mining trip. I've been doing it for 30 something years. And during the year, roughly every 3 or 4 months or so, me and Linda Brandt go on other little digging trips around the country.
And Linda is, in fact, also an artist, is she not?
She is an artist and has a PhD in psychology and a clinical psychologist as well.
Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of walk around and share with you, the listening and viewing public, some of the things that you can see, and we would highly recommend that you do come to the exhibit. So bear with us. We're just going to swivel around, and here we go. So
over here we have some sculpture by Saulus Stankowskis. He actually is believe it or not, a plastic surgeon as well as an artist of fused glass.
That's absolutely
It looks
gorgeous.
like a beautiful geode of fused glass.
Yes, it does. And just
Uh,
FYI, I'm always amazed. People seem to think that people who are involved in other disciplines, like I have plenty of friends who are artists who happen to be architects, attorneys like myself. It's like, people think that you can't be multidimensional or multidisciplinary.
multifaceted.
I totally agree with you.
Right. So the names that he gave them, I can't pronounce them, but it's basically Lithuanian for silica.
Okay.
But
And
I
so,
can't pronounce
and
them.
both of these are works that he has done,
Correct.
and they're on display. And everything in here, just so you know, people, is available for purchase because artists
Right. Yeah.
like for you to not just come see their work, but also buy their
Do
work.
you see the QR code right here?
See the QR code?
That's how you can purchase any of this that you might want. I would love to have you as a new patron.
Okay.
That piece there, actually, there's a context. This is an art. This basically is not art. This is an actual real crystal that was lent to me by Pine Ridge Crystals in Odin, Arkansas, a mine owner. James was kind enough to lend it to me. You might want to look from above as well. There's a lot of context. But when I told him about this exhibition, and I asked him if he would lend me a piece for it, he was overjoyed to do so.
And so when you have gone and you come back from your trips, I know that you actually have to clean the crystals because
Right.
generally you've dug them up out of the earth. And so for these that are
Now,
showing,
these here are ones that Linda and I have dug up. The one you're looking at now, the smaller one there, that came from Wegner Crystal Mine and out in Mount Ida, Arkansas. That's where Linda dug it out this very last year.
wow, it's beautiful.
And the other one was dug out at Ron Coleman's this very last year by none other than me.
And so I don't know what the technical term is, but for me, when you have gifted me crystals, I know some of them have had some of the residue of the brown, which I believe is
It's
that
iron staining.
okay.
It's iron staining. Sometimes it's residue of the clay. If I don't put them in acid baths, you're going to find that on them.
Okay.
The black stuff on there is actually like carbon. Sometimes you can get it off, sometimes you can't.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. All right. And so,
There's a lot of different work here. There's Ken Kashan with his photography, Glenn Ward, Scott Frazier, and Ken Kashan. What's interesting, though, you'll find is that all the artists have given a context about the artwork. I asked them all to give me a scientific context, and a lot of them did, but occasionally a few went off the reservation a little bit and gave me more of a historical point. I love Glenn Ward to death, but that's sort of what he did.
and just
You know.
FYI, so I have had the pleasure of meeting Glenn Ward, we call him one of the watercolor artists in Florida. In fact, I did a podcast episode with him.
Right. So this is by Vera Gubanitska, a Russian Jewish. She's teaching at the Creole these days.
Okay.
And this is by a certain person we're both very fond of, Libby Smith.
Oh my God! Yes, I love Libby.
She's losing her sight, so
Yes.
I mean, we are really on the cusp of the border of her being able to paint much more.
And so, yes, for those that don't know about Libby Smith, she is an incredible artist, and she's now moving more towards sculpture, which is more tactile, given that she
Right.
is indeed losing her eyesight. But her work is incredible.
This is a piece by Linda Brandt, and she actually used clay from the Ron Coleman Crystal Mine in watercolor to make this a guy.
That is gorgeous. So she actually made paint from the clay
That's right.
of where you all go yearly.
And another one by Libby, of course.
Wow.
And this is Scott Frazier. And consider that we're talking about people that have different disciplines.
Mm-hmm.
Scott Frazier is an attorney.
See?
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise,
And
surprise.
look at the skill he did here.
I mean, look at the colors. If you
Beautiful.
come in close, and you're not going to be able to see this, but that's why you need to come
And
to the exhibit, people, so you can
And if you look at the writing, it's absolutely scientific.
absolutely. So for those of you who don't regularly, you can even do selfies.
And we encourage selfies, hashtags. Please do them.
Oh my God, look at this one, which looks like it has like fool's gold on it. or actually gold, specks of gold, or maybe foil.
This is by Marcia Dabrowski.
A sculptor.
A sculptor normally, but she does do wall pieces sometimes. And this one is about volcanic systems in Iceland.
Wow, that's beautiful.
And I don't know if it's gold paint, gold flecks. Actually didn't ask. It's mixed media, which means it could be a few things.
Exactly, but I mean the effect is absolutely pleasing.
And these are Jeanette Corrado. Jeanette Corrado, it must be pointed out, is the other owner of Art for All Spaces. Me and her do these things together, just so you know.
Okay.
And she basically did a black opal and a Harlequin opal.
I love the colors.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, there's always so much. I'll be honest with you. I'm more than happy with me being on it, but it's the artists that count the most.
I totally agree. So, I'm a firm believer. I was lucky to have grown up in a time where I had the benefit of having an education, which included art and music. And these are both things that are very necessary to one's development as a human being in the world that we live in. Yes.
That's another one by Vera. Beautiful on the crow side. Here's Opalize by Linda. This one actually is of opalize. It's an abstract of opalized petrified wood.
And I believe, is this not on the poster and on
It's on the postcard.
The postcard, okay, good deal.
This is by Teresa Chen, about the beauty of quartz. She used to be the president of the Watercolor Society. Now she's just on the board, but she's a very great woman, great gal, and talented artist.
Okay.
This is someone you already know who this is. This is Alexia.
Oh, yes.
And she actually used a real sand rose in this.
Wow. So one of the things that we're going to do when we sit down and have a little discussion, we're going to also talk about Favo. Yes, and your contribution and what you do at Favo and the space that you have at Favo.
Absolutely. Coming over here, this is a piece by Patricia Byron, inspired by Fire Opal. I mean, look at the lightness of the color here, almost a lightness of being. Almost.
Wow. And she also is an instructor at Crealde.
She heads the painting and drawing department at the Crealde School of Art in Winter Park.
Absolutely.
This is photography by John Baker. John Baker actually is faculty at the Crealde teaching photography, but he's traveled all over the world. We're going to keep going. Now, this might at first seem like the odd person out. Let me tell you why it's not. This was the first black woman, or anyone that was black, to basically get a PhD in geology in the United States. Marguerite Williams.
Wow. And this is by Joyce Hayes.
Yes, it is. I asked her specifically to do this one because she is a very talented and skilled portraiture artist.
Absolutely. There are so many people I know, and a lot of them are in this exhibit, who are indeed very skilled at doing a multitude of things. And I'm absolutely pleased and privileged to know them.
Now, this is Bob Smedley. His work has no paint. It's all collage.
Wow. That's kind of cool, too. So we're just going to go and kind of, you won't be able to actually see the detail in this video. You got to come.
More photography if I can.
Okay.
Now, this is Kelly Pounds. She's an artist I met as a result of
Good morning.
Basically, David Walker.
This is Chrissy.
Hi, Chrissy.
Nice to meet you guys.
How you doing?
I'm Pam Bussey.
Nice to meet you.
And you're now on the podcast that I'm doing.
Well, hello. Good morning.
So we're trying to get people to come on out and experience the Orlando Science Center.
Absolutely.
We know that at this time you also have a summer camp. You have a lot of young people that you're sharing with them a love of science and art and
yes, all that good stuff. So definitely come on out. You can get tickets online in advance at osc.org, and you actually save a little bit of money that way. Plus, you guarantee your ability to come into the building, because some days we get a little busy. And we actually sold out not this past weekend, but the weekend before. So you definitely want to book ahead.
But we wanted to have it sold out as much as possible.
Yes.
And I believe last weekend was the opening of the exhibit that we're currently touring,
absolutely.
the 13th, yes.
More than a few people have come in, taken some pictures, done some selfies, and all that.
Which is what we want. So you can join us. We're just doing a walkthrough.
Absolutely.
And Brad is sharing with us a little bit about some of the pieces that are here.
Kelly Pounds is an artist I met through my association with David Walker from the University Club. we're still sort of a bit new as an artist goes, but she is a very, very nice lady, and she's getting better and better every time I see it. I'm so proud of her, and I really enjoy her friendship, so I asked her to participate as a guest artist. Here's another one. You may have met her. This is Cameron Bibbs.
I don't think so, but I love how she has the crystals in her hand.
Basically, well, she took the photography as I wanted. If you notice, she didn't really do a scientific description on this one, but she is a very skilled photographer, and she's a standout. I have my eye on this one because this is really, really good. This is by Parker Sketch, who you may or may not know.
Yes, I know Parker.
Well, a lot of people don't. Parker Sketch has a studio out at Favo, and he's almost a local legend in itself. He does a lot of people know his pop art. What they don't know is he does a lot of conceptual artwork and occasionally scientific. That's what people don't know about him. This is Natasha Shade. I can't pronounce the middle name very well, I'm afraid. Natasha actually is more of an artist that is known for lowbrow artwork, but she loves being challenged.
Now, when you say lowbrow, what do you mean by that?
Well, lowbrow is a terminology used to describe artwork that may be presented like fine art, but the subject matters are not what you would normally see from, like, shall we say, an exhibition at the Creole Day of the Macon Arts Center.
Okay.
She graduated from Stetson, and she basically for the longest time did a lot of artwork from like found objects, but she loves a good challenge. So,
as we all do.
This is another one by Kelly Pound. As you can see, she just keeps getting better and better.
Wow.
I actually saw the picture from which this was taken from. Perfect.
Wow.
Another one by Linda, of course.
Okay.
Now here's an interesting one. This is an urban artist by the name of Jason Ty Davis. I asked him to come in as a guest artist. I wanted to see what he could do. And I have to admit, I was very happy with what I saw. Yes, this is real iron pyrite, real fool's gold that he put in it. Another Patricia. This is some by Kathy Hempel. You know, Kathy Hempel took more the point of like naturalist, being a naturalist about the rivers and such, you know, that have to deal with the rock formations. And then, of course, last but not least, we have another one by Parker, and this one's titled Water because it's about how water influences the geological landform.
Wow. So people, this is a bird's eye view of what you can expect. When you come, you will certainly spend more time than the few moments, but at least you have some background about, and this is just an overview since I happen to be turned that way.
It is a big gallery.
It's a huge gallery, and so we're going to talk with Brad. We're just going to walk in and sit down for a little bit and talk about how it is you were able to have the Orlando Science Center agree to host this exhibit, and this is not the first exhibit that you've hosted at the Orlando Science Center.
Well, I got introduced to Doug Johnson and started having some conversations and came out for an appointment and discovered that the gallery was here. And for the most part, I don't think people really knew that the gallery was here.
All right, we're going to try to adjust, and I think I'm still going to hold this. Let me see if we can't.
Do we need the plug?
Let me see here. We're just going to make some. We got Christine again. We're just going to. I don't want to put you to work like that. We're just going to swivel. We're going to improvise.
Okay.
So you'll see Brad. You won't see me. You don't need to see me necessarily, but if you need to see me, I will hand him the camera, or we might let Christina hold it for a hot minute if you really want to see me. So what was interesting before we even got to the gallery is that Brad is wearing, as you see, purple.
Absolutely.
Purple is one of my favorite colors. I didn't know that he was going to be wearing purple. If I could just impose upon you for 1 second. Let me see how we swivel this, or just swivel around so they can see that I too am wearing purple.
There we go.
And believe it or not, apparently one of the tops that you all as staff wear is purple.
Purple is our color as a building.
And OMG, as we were coming in today, almost everybody had on what color shirt?
Purple.
It was like a conspiracy.
Yeah, all right.
And so we're going to talk about, because when Brad and I, on the way here, he was sharing with us that purple represents what gemstone to you?
Amethyst.
And what are some of the qualities of an amethyst?
Well, do we want to talk science or do we want to talk metaphysics?
A little bit of both, I think, because I
Well,
love
all right, well, then I'll
amethyst.
talk the science.
Okay.
That's what I prefer.
Okay, no worries.
Well, generally, amethyst in nature is produced when effectively you have quartz crystal with iron in it, and it is exposed over the long term to radiation. Radiation is what gives it that purple color, and that's how you naturally get amethyst. It has to be quartz crystal with some iron in it. Expose it to radiation for, I don't know, 500 to 2,000 years, and lo and behold, you got it. Now, of course, you have to have a certain pressure and heat consistency.
And if you recall, when we first started the tour, there's that beautiful, beautiful chunk
Amethyst
of amethyst.
Cathedral, those are what those are called.
Okay, which is at the front entryway to the gallery, and we showed you a photo of that. But trust and believe, the video does not do it justice. It is absolutely
I'm going to
gorgeous.
bet my money that that one in the front probably came from Uruguay. That's one of the major exports of Uruguay these days, is amethyst cathedrals.
Wow. Okay. So, thank you so much. Are you comfortable with holding it? You don't
Sure,
mind?
I don't mind at
Okay.
all.
So now we're just going to have a little chat, and we're going to talk about, because as we said in the beginning, I've known you for a while, a minute or
At
two.
least 10 years.
At least. And
Oh,
so
more.
not only, are you a curator, but for those that don't know, we are fortunate in the Orlando area to have, it used to be a motel, I believe.
Yes, it used to be a motel called the Davis Motel. And
It is now called,
FAVO, which stands for Faith. I think it stands for Faith Arts Village Organization. I believe that's what it stands
and I believe it's affiliated with that church.
for. No, not believe it is.
Okay.
That Presbyterian Church owns it.
Okay.
And I think the story that I've heard, I wasn't there for it, was that effectively when they acquired that property, they had some fear nothing preacher guy, and basically their pastor is going to be the head of their board,
Mm-hmm.
And he said, instead of just tearing it down, why don't we make art studios? And so they spent some money and got them to lease up to the minimal fire codes and all that, and then started renting them out to artists.
Exactly. And in fact, you have such a space at that place, do you
Yes,
not?
I do. Mine, it doesn't have an official name, it probably should. But mine, basically, the front area I treat like a fine arts gallery. And the back area is a rock shop.
And so, for those that don't know, the first Friday and Saturday of every month, the artists open up their studios, and then you generally try to showcase artists in your space.
Well, yeah, I pick my schedule, of course.
Of course.
But yes. It's always different every month.
Exactly.
I mean, the one that's coming up next is the Creole Day Fellowship exhibit from the adult students from the Creole Day.
And yes, so there are going to be a lot of students who have either attended Creole Day or who are instructors at Creole Day. Their work is going to be showcased there in the actual, because remember this was a motel, so they have numbers on the doors.
Room number 244.
Thank you. All right, so we've talked about a lot, sort of, kind of. We talked about, or you shared with us a definition of what a curator is. I don't know if we really talked about you, the person, and or how you first became aware or involved in art, or how you melded together your love of geology as well as art.
That's a tricky question, to be honest with you.
Oh,
There's more, and that's actually more than one question.
I know, it's like multiple questions,
So,
but
so, so let's break it down and let's do one at a time.
Okay.
All right, first one, because I got lost after the third one.
And I'm sorry, see, sometimes my training, it's like I was asking leading questions.
Okay, well, ask the first one.
Okay, so I think the first question, because my mind sometimes, how about if we just ask you how you were able to combine your love of geology with your love of art?
Okay, that's not that hard. In past, geologists, and not just geologists, other scientists as well, they had to be photographers and illustrators and artists. Think about it. And when you look at like, for example, the theory of evolution, Darwin. Darwin literally made sketches of the birds on the island.
Yes.
You know, and there were also geological photographers that added a whole lot to the context. So it's not unheard of for geology and art to be together. It's not unheard of at all. Now, geology is very much about compounds, about how things are deposited by air or water, or how they are changed by heat, or how they are totally transformed by volcanic heat. You know, it's like sedimentary things that are deposited by air and water. Igneous is ones that are developed because of heat. Metamorphic is ones that where everything has been basically melted and broken down and put back together. Usually volcanic thing, you know, ring of fire, tectonic plate, that sort of situations. But geology is constantly evolving. Since I was younger, there's at least 5 to 6 different new minerals that have been discovered since then. You know, now for art, here's the other part. Ancient people use crushed stones for paints. If you think about it, there were cavemen did. They have the caves and all known with the cave paintings. They crushed red ochre, red hematite, which is like red ochre, and used saliva and other things.
Yeah, to mix them.
And did that cave art. They were some of the world's first artists. The oldest one, though, in the world are from South Africa, from the Blombos Cave. It's considered to be 100,000 years old.
Wow. So, again, people, you don't know how blessed I am that I know people who have different backgrounds, and not only are we able to share and discuss our love of art, but whenever I'm with Brad, I always learn something new, and generally he always has a pocket full of what?
Crystals.
That you do what with?
That I give out to special people if I feel like it.
And so, I mean, I can't even begin. So, what would you like? Because this is a give and take. You can ask me questions if you like.
Oh,
What else would you like to share about this exhibit or?
Okay, well, this one is a signature exhibition as far as I'm concerned. This is the sort of thing I've been wanting to do for years, you know. But a lot of the places, they just don't have the interest, or the spaces weren't big enough, or they weren't right. This one has everything I need in most cases. It has all the space, allowing me to involve many artists in this, many different types of artists, from painters to photographers to mixed media, you know, to sculpture. I mean, and this is the Orlando Science Center.
I was just going to say that.
I mean, basically, it's a history and science museum with an art gallery. When we go down to the nitty gritty,
it can't get any more.
It can't get any better than
no,
this.
because people that come here, they'll be exposed to geology, which is a science in and of itself. And so I can't emphasize enough that people, you need to come. This is not the first exhibit here. Hopefully, it will not be the last exhibit that the Orlando Science Center hosts here. And so,
I'm well known for putting up exhibitions that are not just look at my work, it's pretty. And no matter where I do it, there's always a written aspect. You know, because I'm also a firm believer that I have to give people starting points. I think it's disingenuous to make people look at it and guess what they're looking at.
no, I agree. It should also be an educational component.
Right, so everything has to basically fit. It's like this one by John Baker about South Rim. I mean, he's literally talking about geological history of the Colorado River as an example. You know, so every exhibition I do, whether it's this or what have you, is going to have this aspect to it. And it drives people a little bit nutty. And I mean, artists have had to learn how to start writing. I have to learn how to write. They don't always want to do this, but my artists have learned how to.
And so, FYI, if you also happen to be at an exhibit and you're lucky enough to have the actual artist be there, I highly recommend that you engage the artist and ask the artist, as you're looking at their work, either what their inspiration was or just engage with the artist, because you may learn something or find something out, or they share a perspective with you that maybe you didn't know, because they say art, like beauty, is in the eye of the beholder. And so we never know. And as we're going to be wrapping up in a few minutes, because we want to swivel around, as we see, we have the summer camp, so we have the young people, the next generation. They're here at the Science Center. And now I'm going to turn the tables on you, Miss Christine.
All right.
And just ask you if you wouldn't mind sharing just a little bit about the art camp. And so what are they doing and what are they learning?
Yeah, absolutely. So our summer camps are for ages K through, I think it's 6th grade. And it really depends on the level, but we do STEM and STEAM camps for a variety of topics, a variety of themes. We have a science of wizardry, we have science of animal keeping to tie into our new life exhibit downstairs. We have maker camps where that really focuses more on the art, the A in STEAM. So that's, tinkering, finding things that you can just put together and create your own art pieces, sculptures, working scientific engineering, like roller coasters and that kind of thing. So it really depends on the camp itself, but we have hundreds of campers in the building every day, all summer long, and we are one of the most popular summer camp destinations in Orlando. We actually usually sell out by the end of January.
Wow.
So, great way to get in for next year, though, is buy a membership, because our members get early access to summer camp registration. They get a full month of early access, and they get discounts. So,
I also wanted to say
you.
two other things, if I may.
Yes, you may. So we were just doing that because as the young people were trooping behind, we were having background noise, and I'm like, a perfect opportunity for you to sell the program to the public.
And thank you for that.
And thank you for holding the camera. So see, we're just hands on.
I had two other things I wanted
Yes.
to say. Everything that I do, it wouldn't be possible without the sponsors that help me out. I mean, like it or not, things cost money to get accomplished. And all the sponsors that have been helping me over the years, it really is appreciated. You have no idea.
It is a team effort, absolutely.
And there are a lot of the independent people in town don't really know how to do sponsorship.
So you know what I
But I did.
I didn't ask you because you actually have. Is it an LLC? I think it is.
I'm an LLC. I'm not a.
Would you mind sharing with us the name of your LLC that basically?
Art for All Spaces.
Okay.
LLC.
Thank you. And when did you first create that, if you can recall?
I don't remember. Me and Janae did it several years ago.
Okay.
But I don't remember what year.
No worries. And so that's the vehicle that you use. You want to just share? That's what it says. Art for, and he's one of the founders. Yes.
Yes. I also wanted to do one more before we close this. I wanted to do a shout out for the other talented curators in town. I wanted to do one for Animal Hall that Trey Marquez is doing at the City Hall of Kissimmee. He's doing an excellent job. And I want to do one for Morris Garvey at Mills Gallery. They're doing their summer exhibition. Both great curators, great individuals. I will admit they both at one time were my students, but they aren't my students anymore. They've gone on to become their own. Many, not just recently, it was a while back. And they're both excellent at what they do.
Absolutely, and thank you. And just so you know, people always say there's nothing to do, nowhere to go in Orlando, but yet people seem to always reach out to me to find out what's going on.
Because they don't pay attention.
Exactly. So there are forums, and as you can see, the young people, maybe you can't see them, but we can certainly hear them. So we're going to be closing out. And so, Brad, I want to thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity to come hang out with you at the Orlando Science Center. I appreciate your friendship. I love you. Any last words you want to say? You got to shout over the creativity of the young people, the next generation.
Well, I don't think there's much I could say unless I yell my head off, and I don't want to scare any kids. But thank you for having me on.
Thank you. And also a shout.
And please do come.
Please
to
come.
Mineral World, the Art of Geology.
Yes, and a shout out to Miss Christine. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for having us, and definitely come out and see the exhibit at the Science Center. We're so pleased to have Brad back and to have this exhibition here that features both art and science.
Thank you, people. And I think we're gonna.
Christina, you had no idea.